GERSHINEN Paul DAJUR, a priest serving with the Basilica of Grace Church, Gudu, Abuja, in the Diocese of Abuja. And I'm also the current General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria, serving at the National Headquarters, St. Matthias House, Gudu, Abuja. The position of the General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria is one of administration. By the Constitution of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, the General Secretary is the head of the administration of the church that is headquartered at St. Matthias House in Abuja. The function or the duties of the General Secretary, as documented, is for him to coordinate and process the issues that has to do with the Church of Nigeria. One, the administration of the church is an important aspect of the church. The daily runnings of the secretariat. We have a lot of departments in the secretariat of the Church of Nigeria. We have the department that has to do with politics, department that has to do with missions, communications, and others. And it is the duty of the General Secretary to ensure the coordination of all that happens within the system of the church, relating with the provinces, relating with the dioceses, relating with the bishops and archbishops, and ensuring that there is a smooth running of the activities and the proposals of the Church of Nigeria from at different points. It also has to do with processing it. That means this communication between the provinces and the dioceses that the General Secretary has to coordinate and to ensure that it is properly handled. So those are some of the activities of the General Secretary at the Secretariat. Again, he is expected to be at the meetings of the church, the General Synod, the standing committees, and some other meetings as deemed fit by the primate of the church, who is the leader of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion. So in another understanding, the work of the General Secretary has to do with him working with the primate to ensure the smooth running of the Church of Christ under the umbrella of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion. So that's the work of the General Secretary. As the General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria, by the grace of God, my operation is daily and such that I am expected to be in the office always to coordinate things that are going on and to process information. So I operate at the St. Matthias House in Gudu, Abuja, as the head of administration under the primate, and I work with the primate closely to ensure that things of the church are properly processed and handled accordingly and promptly. I operate as an officer under the primate, and so I consult the primate on all issues that has to do with the church, and I advise where necessary, and I process where necessary, and I also send out information and send releases from the headquarters to the church and to the public, and just ensure that the workers also at the secretariat also perform their duties as expected of them, and ensuring also that the integrity of the Church of Nigeria is protected. So we also work out to ensure that there's no reason why the Church of Nigeria should be maligned or should be given a bad name. So that's the work I do here. That's how I operate. Yeah, the General Secretary is in charge of administration. So there's the back and forth of exchange of communication between the Office of the General Secretary and the provinces and the dioceses. And so when there are issues coming from the diocese will send it through my office, and I present it to the primate or to the appropriate person who is in charge of such particular communication. And then again, when the primate has information or the Church of Nigeria has information for the dioceses, it is the duty of the General Secretary also to pass it back to the dioceses and to the churches as the case may arise. So the relationship is to and fro. I'm more like a link between the Secretariat of the Church of Nigeria, the primate office, and then also the bishops, the archbishops, and those who are working with them. So it's more of a link between these principal officers of the church, the primate, the bishops, and the archbishops. It will be difficult for me to be the one to assess my effectiveness. I think that the fathers in God whom I've been working with over the years, and also the body of Anglicans in the Church of Nigeria should be able to assess and speak about my effectiveness. However, with the feedback I have received from our primate, the former primate, and even the current primate, and then also the archbishops and bishops of the church, including the clergy and laity, I think that it is encouraging to hear that people appreciate what I do as General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria. Some have made very wonderful comments about the performance so far, and they are happy and they are praying for me. So that has made me put in more of my effort in ensuring that I serve the church and serve the body of Christ well. So I would say that God has been guiding me, God has been leading me, and I'm happy to say that the church is appreciative of the work I do as General Secretary. Yeah, the position of General Secretary is not replicated in dioceses, unfortunately. There's one General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria, and then we have bishops of the different dioceses, and they will have clerical synod secretaries, those who are in charge of such work at their level. The relationship of the General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria is more with the bishops and archbishops, and not with the other officers of a particular diocese. So in that sense, the General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria does not have any connection with the clerical synod secretaries. However, there's a form of exchange of communication, sometimes letters and documents from the different clerical synod secretaries of the dioceses as directed by their bishops. And in that way, it is just basically by way of exchanging communication, and there's no form of training. I think that the training of clerical synod secretaries of the different dioceses is the duty of the bishops. Usually they are elected persons. They come on board when their synod elects them into such offices, and the intention is that before such a person is elected, the person would have received a requisite training or is capable of handling such office. So there is no platform for such training. I do not think that they are also under my office to organize training for them. However, by experience, now that I have served in this office as General Secretary for a while, and then also by my exposure in administration, since I've been an administrator of schools for a while also, I could offer help, I could offer advice, I could offer some training if such opportunity is created, because life is no longer as it used to be. And so if someone is occupying an office, and particularly if you're occupying an office of a General Secretary or a Secretary of the Synod, as some of my brothers are occupying, there's need to be innovative, there's need to be to think fast and to think through, and to ensure that there's nothing about your work that is not allowing the work to progress. I'll tell you, I don't have working hours. I work 24/7. So my fathers in God can call me at any time and at any moment, and I will be glad to answer them, because I find joy doing this work, not because I'm looking forward to anything, but I see it as me working for God and serving God through my church fathers and the Church of Nigeria. So I find joy doing it. So I pick up calls at any time of the day, and sometimes I may be sleeping and a call will come and I will still respond to it. And somehow God has given me the ability to handle the the laptop, the phone, the technology very well. So I'm able to respond to things on the go. And that has been very helpful. So if there's opportunity for me to train secretaries, if bishops will say, well, can you put my secretary, clerical secretary through on some issues, I'll be glad to do that. But I am aware that the different departments that we have in the Church of Nigeria organize training for their directors or for those who are working with them in the diocesan level, and it has been very helpful. So I think that is sufficient enough. But if bishops or church fathers decide that they would need me to have a one-on-one contact with their secretaries, that will be a great opportunity that I will look forward to, and I will be glad to humbly work with them and to ensure that they are up to date in terms of handling the processing and the administration of issues that has to do with their office as clerical senior secretaries. Until then, we'll still wait to see what God can do. Well, if I say there are no challenges, then I may not be speaking the truth. There is always a challenge to every activity that a man is engaged with, particularly in this part of eternity. The work of the General Secretary is enormous. It's enormous. Like I said, there is that challenge of the volume of work. The assumption is that you should have grasp over everything that has to do with the Church of Nigeria. Somehow that is not something that one as an individual is able to grasp at a go, but I'm struggling and I'm trying to be on top of a situation. But there's that challenge that you can't know everything. Particularly this church has been in existence for 40 years now, or 40 years, because it came into existence as a province in 1979. February 24th, St. Matthias Day. So it's not a young church, it's 40 years, 41 years now. That is to tell you that the church is old enough. And so for me to have information about that church and to always be on top of it is difficult. So there's the challenge of records, the challenge of finding appropriate documentation of things. But again, that is something that we are working on and where God is giving us victory over. There's a challenge also of the understanding of our church fathers. Sometimes things are not properly given proper definition and proper positioning. So it becomes a challenge for you to redefine and to reassign them to where they belong. There's the challenge of also responding to inquiries and to communications from the dioceses. Sometimes statistics or data that is to help in the administration of the church are not released from the dioceses on time. They may come, but they may come very late. And so those are some of the challenges. And then, well, it is human for us to struggle with the technology. So there's the challenge of sometimes the technology not working, maybe the phone not working or things like that. But those are things that we can manage. I as a person, the principle that I believe God has helped me and has disciplined me in is to believe that for every challenge, it is an opportunity to learn. So I've always seen challenges as opportunities to learn. And sometimes we're human beings. Sometimes I've done what is wrong, and so the bishops or the primate is not happy with me, and that's a challenge. But I have also learned to accept that as an opportunity to make my work better. So I've worked very hard to ensure that I'm doing what is right. So there are challenges, but God has helped me through the challenges. I've never regretted any challenge at all. I see them as opportunities to move forward and to do what is right. My desire is that as the General Secretary of Church of Nigeria, the future, particularly with the challenge of COVID-19 now, it has opened us to a different dimension of ministry. Prior to now, we have tried to evolve from hard copy to soft copy. So if you observe now, we send information to our bishops online. via email and WhatsApp. And recently we have had to organize Zoom conferences for our archbishops and some leaders in the church so that the primate could engage them. So I'm hoping that we will master a bit the act of dealing with our issues online. The world is already into that, and that is the new normal now. Churches are also online and things like that. So I am hoping that the bishops will be able to find appropriate softwares, appropriate way of communication online. I'm also looking forward to digitalizing the information we have on paper. We have a lot of information on paper. I'm hoping that we will begin the process of migrating them from paper. We may still have the hard copies, but migrating them from where they were as paper in the archives into the digital form so that you can access them wherever you are. If you have the software, you have the computer, you can access your document wherever you are in the world. So I'm looking forward to that. We're working to ensure that the website of the Church of Nigeria is functional and it is up to date and is current and is modern and it serves the purpose of the church today. There are many things that I'm looking forward to with the support of my leaders that we will do and make this office more functional than it has functioned before. I believe that it is possible to turn around this office. But again, there are some things about this office that are constitutional. There are some things about this church that are statutory that cannot just change unless there is a vote from the General Synod or from the Standing Committee or from the Episcopal Synod. So those ones are not within my powers as General Secretary. Those ones, we leave it to our church fathers to decide appropriately. But concerning the future, I am hopeful that whether I continue as the General Secretary or another person comes on board, the management of information will be much more easier and accessible to many people. For instance, now, the filing of the documents concerning all our bishops and all that has to do with them and all of those things, we can do that online and we'll do it very well with proper security that their information will not be leaked and that all other things also will be managed properly. So those are things that I'm looking forward to doing by the grace of God in the next years of my serving as General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria. Ab initio, my training as a priest under my bishop, that is the Most Reverend Benjamin Adgar Kwashi, the Bishop of Jos, is such that I was not doing just one thing. Right from the day I joined this ministry, I was trained to do many things at the same time. If you have had an encounter with my bishop, the Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi, you will know that no man does one job. You will do a lot of things. So, for instance, I have been a principal at some point. I was still the chaplain. I was still assisting in a church, and so I do those things. And at the same time, I go to the seminary to lecture. I still am a father, and all of those things. I have a family. So with that background of being a preschool principal, of a boarding house, for that matter, being the chaplain of the same school, assisting at the cathedral as one of the priests, and also engaging at the seminary as a lecturer, and all of those things. Sometimes from morning till evening, you are jumping from one point of duty to another. But at the same time, you come back home again, you have a wife, you have children that are looking forward to your friendship, to your love, and things like that. I have, over the years, mastered the act of being myself within these different roles. So today now, coming down to be the General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria, as well as a priest in the diocese, as well as a father at home, it's very easy. My family understands the call of God upon my life, so they are happy to support me wherever I go. So for instance, now when I am working as the General Secretary, in my capacity, whatever work I'm doing, they are happy that I'm doing it. They see me, they are happy that this is what God has called me and the passion I have for this work, so they support me. When I get back home, they see me, they're happy that I'm with them, and I do everything that a father will do, a husband will do to a wife, and a father will do to his family, and I'm excited to be with them. Then I go to the church. I'm also a preacher, I'm also a pastor, and I'm very happy to do it. So I participate with whatever position or whatever situation I find myself with, I do so gladly. My family has supported my ministry from day one, ever since I got married to my family, and then God has blessed us with children. They have always supported my family, so and they're happy. In fact, I pick calls at home, so I don't have official office hour. I can be with my family, and then there will be a call. Can you please send us this? And I will say, okay, I will do that. And while we are interacting with them, I will still be sending that information. So there is no dichotomy for me. Like I told you, my background has trained me. I am not bothered at all. I am happy to do more for so long as I have the capacity to do, as God gives me such opportunity. I'm always excited. So I don't see a clash between those roles that I play. Rather, I see them complementing. I see them giving me wider experience and privilege to serve the body of Christ, to serve my family, to serve the church. So I can leave the office now and get to the church during midweek service, and then put on my cassock, put on my robe, and then begin to minister to the people. On Sunday service, where I'm not on any visitation, I put on my robes and then be part of the service, and I'm very glad doing it. At the same time, I am always conscious that everything I must do all to the glory of God. So I am not looking at man. When I'm serving, I'm not looking at man. I look at the God Almighty who has given me strength to do all these things, and I'm very, very glad to do them. So that's how I've handled the challenge of family life, the challenge of being an officer as general secretary and also as a priest. I'm a young administrator. I have a bit of experience, but I'm a young administrator. But I believe that with what I have seen, with my little knowledge, I can say that one of those things that should be paramount in the life of an administrator is the fear of God. Because an administrator is going to be dealing with people. And for you to be able to handle people and to handle things that has to do with people, first of all, you must fear God. Because unless a man fears God, he is not able to handle the relationship with others very well. The fear of God makes you to know that God makes those who you are working together with in his image and his likeness, so you love them. You don't love just the job that they do, you love what they do, you love who they are first. And that's what the fear of God will do. Then you love God. Then, because when you are serving, you know you are doing it unto God. Our administrators must learn to fear God, love God. That way it will help them to love the people that they are serving or the people that they are working with. You see, an administrator is a servant. That is the truth of it. It's not a position of authority. It's not a position of command. It's not a position of dictating. It is a position of service. So if someone is an administrator, for instance, the General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria is the administrator of the Secretariat of the Church of Nigeria, the duty is to serve those who are working. So by implication, the General Secretary is the servant of the directors, is the servant of the bishops, is the servant of the archbishops, is the servant of the body of Christ, the lay members, the clergy, and every other person. The essence is that by service, you are able to make the work of the church prosper. By service, you are able to make the work of the church progress. So it is not a position of sitting down for people to serve you. It is to serve others. And you see, my model in life is Jesus Christ first. I have other models, but Jesus Christ, who said that Jesus Christ came not to be served, but to serve. That's my model. So as I sit down in my office as an administrator, I look forward to opportunity to service, that I will serve, not to be served. So it is not about me, it is about the people. It is about the people. How can I better their lives? How can I better the lives of those who are working with me, those who I'm working with, those who are above me, those who are under me? How can I better their lives so that they will receive maximum and achieve maximum goal in their roles as people under me or above me? So that's it. So I encourage administrators to think about people. We are human beings, not human doings. Let the relationship with the people you are serving be paramount than the work they offer. It is when you value people that they are able to do the best that God has destined them to do under you. So I believe that a relationship is very, very crucial to administrators.